Rennie and Billy and Chrissy and Mr. John. Oh, what are you going by?
Whatever. That's Big John, right?
Big John. I'm sorry, Big John. Okay, so welcome to Lose the Combatives.
It's your favorite new local podcast on everything martial arts, Rennie. So we're really going to talk about all martial arts?
Yes, all martial arts. So it's not just going to be jiu-jitsu, although today we're pretty much going to be speaking about jiu-jitsu, maybe a little bit of knife fighting.
Yeah, and I mean, we're going to be bringing on guests from other gyms and
yes,
stuff like that.
We don't want it to although we're all actually here from Cyclone. This podcast is dedicated to all martial arts of all kind in Louisiana or all over the South.
Yeah, so Rennie, what was your first experience with martial arts?
So, sorry. Your interview voice is throwing me off.
Yeah, this is what my recruits actually hear at work too. So,
is it right?
Yeah, it's my professional voice. Professional voice.
Okay, so let's see. My first experience with martial arts was Taekwondo.
I think a lot of people down here actually
probably
had that
so.
experience.
It's right about that was all that they had rather down here, and it was right around about a year or so after. I think I'm pretty old, so don't quote me on this, but I think it was about a year or so after the first Karate Kid.
So around 1985, 86 time.
Yeah, something like that. So yeah, I trained there for a little while. I can't even remember how long. I don't even know what belt I got to, and then I kind of lost touch. Then I repicked up again when I had my first son, my only son, and in Tang Sudo.
So what's Tang Sudo?
Tang Sudo is also a Korean art. Our teacher was Mr. Wayne Gilliott out of St. Bernard Parish. His daughter used to work for me when I managed a health club in St. Bernard. Great people. Kind of, got away from it again, and then I found Cyclone.
Yeah.
Started my my 14-year-old daughter. She didn't stay too long, but I stayed, and pretty much been there since. And around the same time, I guess it's about 10 years now. About 10 years, but we started.
Yeah.
I also had started Filipino martial arts, so knife fighting.
So like stabbing people and all that stuff?
Yes, stabbing people and not getting stabbed.
Nice.
Yes, with edged weapons. Correct.
So hopefully we have a whole show on that one day.
Yes, absolutely. I have some people lined up to want to go over what we do, and there's a lot of misconceptions, a lot of how to say not represented well in FMA.
I got you.
It's a lot of guys just trying to throw sticks at each other and stuff, and they call it FMA.
So it's not like LARPing in a park or anything?
No. Although that's nothing's wrong with that. That's pretty cool. For LARPing is, for those who don't know, it's like when you basically you're playing medieval sword fighting.
Yeah, well, I mean, back in around 2012, I was actually big into HEMA, historical European martial arts.
Yeah, that's right.
And a lot of people thought that was completely LARPing, but we were actually using manuals that were back from the Renaissance era.
Right.
And actually figuring out how did the masters in dueling actually do it back then.
Yes, you see, going back to Filipino martial arts, my instructor, Tim Wade, he's actually a big historian, and he sends us those manuals. Like, I'm like, what the hell am I reading? And it's translated to English so we can read it, but it's a lot of knife fighting today, or edge weapons fighting today. The art behind it is lost. They're just swinging sticks or swinging whatever at each other. They're not setting up strikes. They're just trying to get lucky and hit somebody with a weapon.
Yeah, like be the first one to actually hit.
Yes, exactly.
And then all of a sudden
they're trading shots. They don't care if they get hit. They're just, hey, if I hit you and you hit me, that's fine, as long as I hit you first.
And in a real knife fight, that's unrealistic though, right?
Unrealistic. Yeah, you're both dead if that happens. Not good.
So currently, what rank do you hold in jiu-jitsu?
I am a purple belt in jiu-jitsu. Like I said, I think I've been about 10 years or so, about when you started. I think we were about the same time.
Talk about that was a fun time back then.
Yeah, it was it's a lot.
Mr. John's laughing because he was at that same time period.
Yes. Pretty much. Yeah. So it's what was it? What can I say? How do you put it? It was, I guess,
two bulls meeting in the
yeah,
middle.
yeah. It was sink or swim. You know, you get on the mat, and if you can survive those 8 minutes or whatever rounds, Chrissy's agreeing here because that's what she's probably was presently doing the last few months. That's how it was, you know. But
I'll sum it up in one thing. It was Leslie running behind us with a bleach bottle and a towel cleaning the blood.
Yeah.
You know, Billy, you know.
Yeah, most definitely. So, I mean, I first started getting into martial arts back when I was 12 years old, but my track was a little bit different. I actually trained at my cousin's stepdad was our sensei, and he actually trained us in his house.
You trained at his house.
We trained at the house. So we were in the living room.
So this is like real traditional way people learn martial arts.
Like
if y'all don't know,
back in the day, it was passed down father son at the house.
And that's up until I guess not recently, but 80s or 70s. That's how, and even still today, that's how Philippine martial arts is done.
Yeah, that's whenever
there's no schools.
Coming out. Yeah,
there's no schools. They teach their family.
And then even like jiu-jitsu started off like that in the garage.
Yeah.
Like you train with these people in their garage, and I mean we were in the living room, the front yard. There was only like 3 or 4 of us, so I mean it was all almost like private lessons. Growing up, and that was probably about 2 or 3 years that I've trained Ishin like that. It was pretty fun. I mean, he had a little pel set up. We actually punched that.
What kind of martial arts was it again?
Ishinru. It's a karate style.
Okay. Yeah.
So traditional Japanese style martial art.
Yeah.
We went to tournaments or whatever. I did pretty good. Favorite kick in the world was a reverse crescent kick. Do not ask me to do a reverse crescent kick though. Okay. It's never going to work.
I'm going to ask you tomorrow. On the
Definitely going to try that. And I mean, after that, when I was 19, I went into the Marine Corps, of course. And 2 years into there, we ended up going into the Marine Corps martial arts program. And they take different styles and they combine them together to teach Marines how to kill on the battleground, finding improvised weapons. They took stuff from Pekiti, from jiu-jitsu, from traditional Japanese martial arts as well. And the thing that kills me the most, Rennie, whenever I was in San Diego, the mecca of where jiu-jitsu was in the United States at the time, I took a totally different style that I don't want to mention now because, again, I don't want to talk bad about any kind of martial art right now. However, I feel like I should have started a lot sooner.
You had the prime people of jiu-jitsu at your fingertips.
Right there to learn. And it's like, hey, let's go train this other style.
Right.
So, I mean, when I moved back home, of course, it was a few years even after that because I think it was about 2014. I came home in 2005.
Okay.
And Alexis and I, we were talking about signing Elijah up for something because, I mean, he was hitting that age. He was right around 5 years old.
That's exactly right. 2014, I think, is when
so we signed up Elijah. And I was sitting there yelling on the mat. I mean, if you ever met me, I'm a pretty loud vocal person when I'm coaching. So I really didn't know what I was coaching.
Do not attend a football game with this guy.
I don't know what I was coaching at the moment. I was just yelling at Elijah, get up. Why are you letting this little kid hold you down? And that's when Darren turned around, looked me square in the eyes, like, if you think it's that easy, why don't you show up to the class tonight? Yeah. Rennie, I was 230 pounds, solid muscle. I went to the gym twice a day, every day. I thought that muscles was everything.
Yeah.
So, again, I sat there for the first 20, 30 seconds. I was a beast. Yeah. Then after that, I was just completely exhausted. I didn't know what the top position was. The first time I ever got side control, I told my partners, like, hey, why don't you get back on top of me? Because I'm more used to being down on the bottom. Right. So, I mean, that's pretty much. Yeah, I can rest down here.
Somewhat. I'm still that way. It depends on who I'm grappling, you know?
Yeah. So what are our views for this podcast going forward?
So in general, it's just to promote martial arts. It doesn't have to be jiu-jitsu. It's just any martial arts in the area. Just to get more people training.
Yeah, I mean, local fighters too that might be fighting in matches and stuff like that.
Yep. So that's another aspect is just spreading the culture of fighting, of martial arts in the area. I'd like to have I think we have some local fighters, like professional fighters on. Another aspect is law enforcement. Yes. I'd love to get some more law enforcement on and how they use martial arts in their training.
One thing I'm really excited about is that we have Johnny Lee Smith, Tiger Claw himself.
Yes.
He's going to be a guest on the show in November. I'm super excited about that.
If nobody knows that name, Johnny, it's from what year was that? It was
90s. It was 90s. It was 2 seasons long.
So it was like a WWE style martial arts show.
World Martial Arts Masters or something like that. WMAC Masters was the name of the show.
That was good. It's corny but very good. So yeah, so everybody had their characters like WWE.
Yeah.
Do you remember that, Mr. John? Do you remember
I
seeing
do
that?
not.
So
Oh man, you missed
yeah,
that. You were
it
too
was-
old at the time. I think.
Yeah, it was.
Let's go with that.
It was corny as hell. I mean, because think of WWE characters. Like think of WWE characters from the 80s and 90s. So it was that, but martial arts. Guys dressed up, you know.
They were fighting in a big old Thunderdome type thing.
Yeah, and totally fake.
Against stunt doubles.
It wasn't like real like MMA or anything. It was just totally choreographed and just horrible acting. You know.
Hey, John, I wouldn't say that because Johnny Lee will be here on November,
Yes,
and he might be listening right now.
He was the only one that acted very, very good. I would say, yeah. That's the reason we stayed.
Yeah, but he has a really good police program that
does he?
actually trains my police recruits and all that stuff.
Okay.
So that's
Yeah.
why I'm really excited to have him on.
So a little more about that. So you're training the NOPD recruits?
Yeah, I'm a full-time instructor at the academy,
Okay.
and one of the main things that I do teach is defensive tactics. So
Okay. So is it jiu-jitsu or just everything?
it's
Hand-to-hand
they
combat?
stand up, hand to hand, and
Okay.
the ground. Most of the things that we teach on the ground. I mean, I don't want to go into specific details with it, but it's mostly just getting up, creating space, and
Right,
getting to some
right,
kind of tool.
Right.
Because we don't know if anybody else has a weapon.
Right. You're not
or
going to
anything.
grapple with somebody if you don't need to grapple with
Yeah,
somebody.
because I mean, they might just hold you down and then wait
Right.
till their friends get there and stuff. So
Yeah. Or pull a knife out their boot and stab you
exactly.
in the kidneys. Yeah. So but our guest here, who looks puzzled and concerned about what they got themselves into.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
basically, okay, so the mentality of most jiu-jitsu gyms in general is a somewhat like we were, like sink or swim.
Mm-hmm.
So new guys sign up, and the first thing we tell them to do is grapple. And you get in front of somebody, and you're like, "What?"
And that's the very beginning of class before
Yeah.
they even learned
Yeah.
the technique. We did that.
You might do warm ups, and then you're subjected to, hey, grapple this guy, and right. So
Right.
so you're like, what the hell do I do? And we had police recruits come in for that,
Yeah.
and they're like, what do I do? And I was like, just pin me down.
Yeah, pin
Try
him.
to pin me down, and it's overwhelming because think you have nothing to do. You have no
Nothing.
idea. It's you just feel helpless.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So anyway, what the direction of our academy right now, Cyclone with Darren DeSalvo, is we're going to our initial program, our BJJ 101. We're doing no grappling, so it's all situational grappling or techniques and
All self-defense oriented.
self-defense oriented. And after you get through that program, then you go to live grappling with live people. Not that you're doing it with dead people, but
I mean, it depends.
so you have basically a combination of 30 something techniques that you already drilled in your head before you go live.
yeah, so you have a base basically to work off of.
absolutely, yeah, and not just like, hey, tackle that guy. So both of our guests today actually started when that was how we did it, and now so now that we've trained, what's it been, like a month, 2 months?
Yeah, I think we're somewhere around class 12 or 13 right now.
12, 13.
Yeah,
yeah.
and it's 4 classes a week right at the moment.
Yeah. How do you guys liking the new curriculum that's going on?
I'm really enjoying it. I actually go to class now. So that's a plus.
So Chrissy actually is one of our ones that so far since we started the fundamentals, I think she's only missed 2 classes so far. And she's actually showed up to twice a days, at least once.
That's right.
So
she did a noon
she did a noon class with you, I think
and-
it was,
and-
or Mike. Was it Mike?
noon class.
It was,
She did one with me
Mike.
and one with Mike, I
Yep.
believe.
Oh
Yep.
wow! I mean, I think she's actually showed up to more classes than I have so far, and I'm teaching all of
Yeah.
them tonight.
Trying to get star student
She's,
of the week. My husband and I started in January of this year.
2023. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. And how long has your son, Cameron?
Cameron has been in it a little over a year and a half, and then our 15-year-old has been in it. March made his year.
Man,
So we watched our kids do it, and we kept saying, eventually when Cameron gets out of the kid class, the small kids will join. Well, then Cameron got out of the kid class, and it was beginning of the year we're going to start. Beginning of the year came, and Billy held us to it, and we had to start because we couldn't go back on our word, 2, 3, 4
Yeah, right.
times. So we started in January.
So
Yeah.
what were some things that maybe have kept you from starting on time that you think?
Your
Looking
wife.
back- Oh, so you were scared of Alexis then?
Honestly, for me, it was the intimidation factor of it. I mean,
Did y'all see
cardio.
people grappling before? Or?
Absolutely. I saw my kids. I saw the adults. They'd want to stay and watch the adult class. And I was like you, yelling from the sidelines, you know, just roll them, just roll them. And it is not as easy as it looks. So we watched and we decided that we were going to start. And the intimidation factor was there because cardio, stamina, not something that comes natural to me. So I was like, man, first of all, they're going to murder me with warm-ups.
Yeah.
Then they're going to throw me to the wolves and I have to fight for my life during a 8-minute grappling match.
Right.
Do you remember who your first match was with? Who your first grapple?
I want to say it was with Lexi.
Oh, I'm so sorry for that.
Yes. Yeah. But she did ask. She's like, do you want to learn or do you want to roll?
Yeah, she does have a nice
Obviously, I wanted to learn.
side. Have you seen her grapple before? Or?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I do think she has a reputation.
Yeah, I mean,
the
once she gets on
gym.
your back, she's an evil
Yeah.
backpack. So
Yeah.
Yeah. She hasn't competed in a while, right?
she has not. I think
But-
the last time I both competed was in 2018 at Naga.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's been a while for
Right,
both
right,
of
right.
us.
So a lot of people actually don't know, unless they come to the gym, what type of grappler she is, and why we kind of, when we talk about her, is like, oh, you know, Lexi, you know, but yeah, she's 110.
I'm not going to answer that in case she's watching this right now. But
I think earlier you said she was 158 pounds.
no,
But,
definitely did not say that. I do have a healthy fear of my wife.
But,
I mean, you've taught her how to stab me, really.
Yeah, but in general, I think women in general, they are so much better at learning and executing techniques. They don't worry about trying to be too strong because, be honest, they're not as strong as men. So they're grappling the techniques of it. And Mr. John, how you been?
Good, Rennie.
Good. How's
No,
that
I've been missing
shoulder?
you.
Shoulder's struggling.
Struggling?
Yeah, I'm having some issues.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
It's part of it. you know.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
I know you were deciding if you were going to get surgery or not on it, or
I decided, yes, on the 14th, I'm going to go get it taken care of. So
Good.
it might be out 4 months, give or take.
yeah.
But this would be my third go around with the shoulder issue.
So, what started causing the shoulder issues?
So I've been lifting weights, my whole life for the most part.
Couldn't tell.
It's heavy, and
There's a reason why we call him Big John.
it just, I guess, just age.
It's wear and tear.
It's wear and
It's wear and tear. Yeah, I the same way. I feel it every day and it's pretty much like the mentality of the old school jiu-jitsu mentality.
Yeah.
Same thing with weights. Everybody was just want to lift heavy and hard. Not worried about screwing up your joints.
Yeah.
It's just there was no injury prevention per se in our minds, right?
Yeah. I mean, Mr. John, how old were you when you actually first started training? If you
I
don't
was
mind,
50.
50 years
started
old.
training.
And a lot of people in their 50s are scared to actually train. So
Yeah.
So I'm 61 now.
Yeah.
So I've been training for quite some time, I believe. Anyway, it's the injuries are going to come, I think, regardless. I believe we're going to get hurt doing certain things.
I mean, it is a contact sport.
It
after all.
is. And the thing of it is, when you first start, that's probably the biggest issue is when we first start, it's like, I'll do what I can to muscle. I'm going to use my strength,
Yeah.
my muscle, my arm back. And all the while, man, you can just feel it. Now I have no problem.
Well, yeah. I mean, Mr. John, 10 years ago when we first started, there was no chill in the factor. It was two bulls and everything was all strength. And if I'm going to rip this arm, I'm going to rip this arm. I mean,
I figure I'm bench pressing at 50. I'm still bench pressing over 400 pounds.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I could take all these guys.
we didn't know how to flow roll back then.
No, there wasn't no flow.
Some people still don't know how to
Yeah,
flow
some
roll.
people still don't. Some people you agree to flow roll with, but they won't flow with you.
It lasts for like 5 seconds, and then all of a sudden you're.
And I thought that was 99.9% of it was the strength. Not that strength hurts.
No, not at
It
all.
does help. But now, when we start learning the techniques as time goes on, the years pass us, and we realize how not to get ourselves in a position that's going to get us hurt.
Yeah, I mean, there's sometimes you need to use strength, and there's sometimes you don't. You need to be able to relax and chill for a second.
And I try to keep everything in tight, everything close, because like I said, once my arm gets away from me, man, my shoulder is just.
So talk about sometimes when you're training, because you've actually had the shoulder problem for a while, have you not?
I've actually had surgery on both of them.
Yeah, and you've grappled since then.
Oh yes.
So how do you pick your training partners?
I'll never say no if somebody approaches me and wants to roll, but I try to. Professor Darren always tells me, be smart when you're picking your partners. But it's hard when you look at a 25-year-old young man in there, just always in a weight room, and they're like, we were when we started, 20 years younger. Mm-hmm. They want to roll. You're not going to tell them no. Just don't put yourself in a bad position.
But there is something to be said about going select your partner before somebody else picks you, right?
That's usually my goal. And I love to roll with Randy. I love to roll with you, Billy, and it's always, I'm not worried about someone taking it too far. Yeah. And that's how I am now too. If I have somebody's arm or leg, whatever, and it just feels like they're not giving up, I'll just let go.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like our heel hook policy at the gym, where it's more of a look and release. Where once I got you locked in there, I'm going to look at you, make eye contact, like, I got you. And then even at that point, if you don't tap, I'm just going to let go and we'll go somewhere else with that.
Professor Down told me one day, he goes, just roll with the little guys. I'm like, there's no little guys in the gym.
Oh, we don't have little guys, but we do have little Chrissy right here.
How?
You just don't have. The gym it's just tough. It's a tough gym. A lot of tough people. But it's so rewarding at the end of the day when you're leaving class. You go, man, this was, I hung with this 25-year-old kid and maybe got him a couple of times. Yeah. At the end of the day, it's good. If
So anyway, essentially our chess podcast, if you don't already guessed, we just want to talk about the culture of jiu-jitsu and how our school is handling it now. Traditionally, at most schools, it's a sink or swim. You join a school, you join academy, and they, say, hey, put this gi on, get on the mat, and they say, grapple this person. And for most people, if you're not a crazed lunatic, it's like, oh, you're kind of overwhelmed. And what we're doing now to try to steer, because put it this way, a lot of people, they take that first class and they never show back up. Yeah, they don't show back up, or they come very sporadically, just so they don't look like.
I mean, how many people have we met over the years that all of a sudden just never came back?
Yeah, it's true. And you're like, oh, where's that guy? He was nice. Yeah. But he just didn't come back. Or this lady, or whatever. Because we have quite a few ladies that came.
Yes.
So what we're trying to do now at Cyclone is make it more, definitely not watered down, but it's more user-friendly or more friendly to beginners. Mm-hmm. So where they're not just overwhelmed right off the back when they get on the mat and just get tapped out. We're going through and Billy is teaching fundamentals, so many positions, so many techniques before they grapple.
And it's not even designed for jiu-jitsu versus jiu-jitsu. It's designed for somebody attacking you on the street, which is, again, why most people want to start a martial art.
Yes.
Not many people plan on saying, hey, you know what? I'm going to this gym because I want to be the IBJJF national champion.
Right. Yeah, that happens to maybe 3% of the people that join. They say it gets in their blood and they're like, oh, I want to compete. I want to rip people apart. Yeah. That doesn't happen to everybody. And it's so essentially that's what we're trying to cater to, the people that do not have a life of combat fighting in mind.
Yes.
And not that that's wrong. There's a lot of gyms that have that demographic. Where we're at, our demographic is not. We're a bunch of house moms, housewives, guys that are just working 9 to 5s or 12 or shift work, and they're not there to get hurt and drink blood.
Yeah, I think we're going for the more philosophy of jiu-jitsu for everybody.
Absolutely.
The person that usually probably felt disenfranchised because they didn't want to get on the mat and be like, hey, this guy's going to kill me.
Yes. And I think that is a misconception that a lot of people think that's what it is. So they think of jiu-jitsu and they're like, oh, because you've seen all the memes where people say, oh, I've been practicing jiu-jitsu, I love it, and I'm only 35 and it looks like an 80-year-old guy, right? Yeah. Like, or you talk to these people, say, oh, how long you've been doing jiu-jitsu, and they say 5 years, and they're always injured. It doesn't have to be that way, you know.
Are we sure we want to interview Mr. John?
Yeah, yeah. Well, this is where we're getting at, because that's how we used to train, right?
Yeah. Oh,
That's,
definitely.
As soon as you came in, you trained hard, and you got it with somebody, and you had to sink or swim.
Yes.
You know, and that's not that that's wrong. It's just not what our demographic of our gym is going for. There's plenty of gyms out there that offer that, you know, for the competitive athlete, where we can offer both.
Yeah.
You know,
and that's what I want to say. I don't want to say like we're not offering the chance for people to go out and compete as well.
Absolutely.
Because we do have our
Yes.
BJJ 201 classes.
Right. It's just, if you're not into sport jiu-jitsu and
Yes.
just for recreational purposes, that's we're trying to cater to both of those crowds.
Yeah. So if you do want to win IBJJF national champion, still come.
Yes, absolutely. So that essentially that's what we're getting at. This podcast is about jiu-jitsu, about martial arts in general, trying to get it exposure to the whole area, and eliminate the misconceptions of what it is or what it can be, being what it can be. That everybody can train jiu-jitsu, everybody can train any martial arts.
Yes.
If they find the right instructor, find the right school, find the right training partners. It can be very rewarding life for anybody, not just the hardcore guys out to headhunt.
Yeah, because I mean, you got to think there are multiple reasons why somebody might want to train. Maybe they want to get in shape.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I think a lot of people came in like, and how many times have you heard that excuse? It's like, well, I need to get in shape before starting classes.
Right. Or gym.
Yes.
People. That's one of the common things. Oh, I didn't want to get in shape before I go start the gym. That's why you start the gym.
That's what it's there for.
Yeah.
So I mean, people want to get in shape. People want to defend themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Some people do like the sport aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's many reasons, and you should be able to cater to all.
Yes. In general, you don't have to get hurt. You know, any training method whatsoever. Basically, when we train for any martial arts, if you take it back to its roots, it's for combat, for war, right?
Yes.
So if your training methods consistently hurt your soldiers, you're consistently getting hurt, then you have nobody to help defend, nobody to go fight. So that's not how training should be.
Yeah.
Not to say it's wrong to get hurt, not that accidents don't happen, but you should not be worried that you're going to get hurt every time you go to train.
Yeah, I mean, some of the things we're trying to get across in this one-on-one class is the fact that your partner's not working against you. Your partner's actually working with you.
They're trying to make you
learn these moves.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of times, if you're just focusing on only grappling, of course, I'm trying to win.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to win.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to stop everything you're doing.
Yeah.
However, what we're running with the fundamental class right now is not only when you're practicing a move, but when we're doing our drills at the end.
Yeah.
If you're not doing something correct, your partner should be like, no, move your leg a little bit more right here.
Right.
And maybe move your leg there.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, yep, this is where I want it. Good job.
Yeah.
So.
Right. Absolutely. So we're talking about injuries.
Yes.
Specifically, Mr. John, I guess, because Chrissy hasn't had really major injuries. Because that's another podcast that we want to do in the future is injury prevention and recovery. Because that's any sport, you're going to have that. Myself, I visit weekly. I go to like a chiropractor. I get dry needling done, especially in my age that I have to take constant measures of care of my body so I can keep doing it.
And I don't even mind saying his name, Dr. Derek. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I think we need to get him on the show one day because he takes care of a few people from our gym as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Yep.
Although I'm not doing the dry needling because I just don't like needles.
I will be the first to say that it absolutely works. Like I've had injuries and I got the dry needling done, and within 2 or 3 sessions that I've done it, that I've noticed considerable improvement in that injured area.
Yeah.
When I tore was it about a month or so ago, 2 months was just you were there when you heard I had torn my hamstring, partial tear, and I got the dry needling done twice a week for like 3 weeks.
You were so bruised up inside
and
your leg.
I got better, like record time. Yeah. It's amazing.
So maybe Mr. John doesn't need surgery, then he just needs to go get some
dry needling. Maybe.
The MRI says no.
Yeah.
But I did pull my groin once really bad, and I was hurting for a couple of months. It just would never go away.
So what did Paula do to that? It wasn't Paula.
See, probably Billy.
I'm getting blamed for mine right now.
and I went to my chiropractor, and he went ahead and did the dry needling, and probably 2 weeks of it, I was 100%.
To the
And that
groin
if
area.
it's a pulled groin, because that's like a
I've
6 week
never pulled
recovery.
a groin.
Yes.
Where do they put those needles? Like really high up there? I mean, 'cause that sounds kind of scary.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple
Not
inches.
too bad. Depends who you're talking to.
A couple inches away from the area, but maybe 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And he actually put the little TENS unit on.
Yeah. The 10. Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was incredible.
And it was like pulsating.
Yeah.
The 10 unit. I mean, yeah.
Yes. And, so I was able to. Like I said, within a couple of weeks, I was back to harm.
I'm saying that's something because I pulled the groin before, and it was a 6 week injury.
Yeah.
I didn't even want to lock somebody in my guard.
Because ironically, like we said back, how we used to train. I've torn bicep.
Mm-hmm.
I've torn a tricep. I've torn a hamstring. And not to say that wouldn't have happened now. Maybe that would have, because that's just the type of person I am to go 100% when I do things sometimes. But that hamstring, when I did get the dry needling, that improved the quickest of all the times that I've had injuries. Yeah.
Agreed.
Absolutely. So that a viable solution to anybody with injuries is definitely having the proper treatments to recovery.
Yes.
Randy, just going back to when you said 100%, some came to my mind, but jiu-jitsu seems to be one of the only martial arts that you can roll at 100%. There's no striking.
Right. Yeah. You can't punch somebody 100% in the face. Right. Yes. No, that's absolutely right.
That's what's great about it.
So you can,
great aspect.
Just you can roll to whatever degree, but you can control yourself to where if your opponent isn't taking it well or they're not going to tap, then you can stop.
Or not just
you don't have to hurt somebody.
Once you get to the submission itself, that point where it starts hurting.
Right. Once you got something, then you can sink it in, and you don't have to be a dick. You can just stop. Even if they think, I got it. I was going to get out anyway. No, you weren't, but still, it doesn't matter. Yeah. We're not purposely trying to go to the mat and hurt anybody, and that shouldn't be the mentality of anybody who's rolling.
Till you get to the position, you can go 100%. You get a position. Now my shoulder's a lot tighter than Chrissy's shoulder. Mm-hmm. There's no doubt about it. Yeah. I only have this. You can always bend them inside out. I'm not like that. So you can tell when my shoulder is done. And I can tell when someone else's shoulder's done.
Sometimes I roll with Mr. John, I don't even get the whole Americana locked in.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, this is enough for the shoulder.
Yeah. So I think that's a common trend. Like me, Mr. John, me and you, certain group of us, when we roll, we know better to not go full out. Yeah. So we're not trying to hurt each other.
Well, we've matured.
Yeah.
Because in the past, we're
conserving our energy in case some young buck wants to come roll with us, and then we kind of use a little more energy. Then we're just having fun, at that point.
I told Professor Darren the other day. He goes, "Well, who'd you roll with?" I said, "It doesn't matter who I rolled with. It was tough. It was tough. Well, you have to start being smarter, for the longevity in the sport. Like I said, I'm 61. I want to do this when I'm 71.
Yeah.
If the good Lord allows me to stay here 10 more years.
Or if Miss Paula.
That's right.
As long as you don't come home with cauliflower.
Right? That was the one thing. So,
that is another episode too. Is I want to talk about our significant others who don't train.
Yes.
And the friction it causes in relationships with people who don't train and their significant other.
Yeah, because once you start training, like Mr. John said earlier, you fall in love with it.
Yeah, you don't. It's comes how to deal with that. How to deal with that. That would be an excellent episode because I deal with that personally.
Well, sometimes Tammy's there every
she comes
for a class every 10 years.
Now that we started the new program that where we're
not just that, but Lucero's there again. And she seemed to like it.
I think she came because Mom made her come. But
that works. I mean, sometimes you got to force them in the door, and then all of a sudden you like it.
Yeah. But like you're saying, because your significant others sometimes don't understand our obsession. Of what we're doing, why it makes us whole. like I said, this podcast is going to be for everybody in the martial arts community, not just jiu-jitsu. If you have anything you want to talk about or get out to anyone, if you have fighters, if you have program, self-defense courses, or anything you want to talk about, we'd love to talk to you. We'd love to have you on. We just want to spread the martial arts community, get it to more people, so everybody's training. If we can get at least one person every household training, that would be absolutely glorious. Basically, spreading the message of something that we all enjoy, and that's become a part of our life, and why it should become part of yours. Look us up on Facebook because we're Louisiana Combatives.
If you message us on Facebook, we will definitely respond to that.
Like I said, we're just starting this, and this is a kind of somewhat of our test podcast. Although we got to get our shit together because we have quite a few people lined up to talk with this. But yeah, so look us up on Facebook. We also have a YouTube channel, but look us up on Facebook, Louisiana Combatives, and honestly, that name is probably going to change.
Yes,
because we don't want to stick to just Louisiana. So I don't know if you can see, it's a round table. We're probably going to go with Round Table Combatives. So just to discuss anything and everything martial arts.
Yes.
And self-defense.
And not just Louisiana. I mean,
yes, absolutely.
We got friends in Mississippi, Alabama, Florida.
Yep.
I mean, not just the South either.
Right. I have a buddy, if any of you guys are familiar, plug him, Nogi Industries, or they're out of California. They're very popular. They used to sell a lot of videos or online videos and whatnot. I think we had one of the guys come down here remember Budo Jake. Shout out to Budo Jake. He is Nogi Industries. They sell all kind of martial arts, but he's a jiu-jitsu. Both of them, the guys are jiu-jitsu. My buddy was actually Dave Contreras.
Yes.
I met him through photography, ironically, and when I didn't even train jiu-jitsu, and then later on we had that connection. But yeah, anywhere. So, guys, surrounding gyms, if you have anything you want to help relay out to the public, general public, we welcome you. You come on the podcast or even a remote join. If you have any events or any fighters you want to promote, or anything that you want to get out that we can help you, that would be.
And we definitely want to talk to you and see what's going on at your gyms.
Yes.
And see what you got for people. And
because whoever's listening or whoever potentially will listen, maybe they're not right for our gym. Maybe they're right for your gym. Maybe they're better suited there. We're not trying to corner the market and get everybody at Cyclone.
Exactly.
We're just trying to enrich the whole community in general.